Okay. Hello, members. Welcome to the listening in to the ASCA board meeting. We have 5 items on the agenda. And when it comes time for, after we've presented the agenda item, then usually what we do is we go around and give each director time to say something about the motion or give input about it. And you'll hear us do that. And then directors, when you do talk, please say your name so everyone knows who's speaking. This is Ann, by the way. So our first item is to ratify the March email business. Then we also have system update report from Rachel. And then ASCII rescue application that we're going to be handling. And trending news, which is a topic that we discussed a little in email. And then judges education platform. So that's what we're going to be discussing tonight. So the first item is ratify March email business. So we need a motion.
I move to ratify.
Go ahead.
Sorry. This is Jean. I move to ratify March email votes.
It's Rachel, I second.
Thanks, Rachel. So we have a motion on the floor to ratify March email business. And that is from Jean and seconded by Rachel. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. Are there any abstentions? All right, that motion carries. Rachel, can you take us to the system update report?
Yes, ma'am. We really don't have anything that has changed at this point. What we are looking at right now is how to fill the systems upgrade committee. And we've had some interest on that, but we haven't had anyone to really step up yet, nor have we nominated anyone. We will be meeting at the spring meeting with Ross Wright. He was the original developer that worked with Frog Slayer, and he's going to discuss with the board his proposal for the ASCA system upgrade, the completion of it, as well as discuss the website maintenance. So that's all I have tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. So the next item is a rescue grant application. Yes?
This is Jean. I
Okay.
have a question for Rachel.
Yes,
Go ahead.
ma'am.
Okay. So Ross, is he still with Frog Slayer or he's not?
No, he has his own company.
Okay.
If he were still with Frog Slayer, we wouldn't be discussing this with him. I don't know if you recall, he was the original developer, and he
Yes,
was
I
the
do
one that that had started the system and had it about 75% complete when we were told that they were going to start over again.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
he
Okay.
of all people in the world, he would have the inside information and understand how and why Frog Slayer used the language that they did to create the system. Because I don't know if you recall, but that was one of Inventive's points on their review, was that Frog Slayer did not have the best development tools. And so Ross Wright, are you guys there?
Yeah,
Okay.
Rachel.
Momentarily.
I'm here, Rachel.
Yeah.
Is everybody
Okay.
mute?
Anyway,
Everybody mute.
so that's why I think it would be great for Ross to come in and give us his proposal. That's all I have.
Okay, briefly, we had Amy Bradley join us, and I think she's
Yeah.
going to be joining us for the last item on the agenda. But when she popped in, I think that messed up everything. So hopefully she'll pop back in. You're here?
I am.
Okay, Amy's here. So let me Did we have anybody else join us? I don't think so, just Amy. So welcome, Amy.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
We're gonna, Dean, did you get an answer to your question that was satisfactory?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. I appreciate
All
that.
right. Okay, our next item is rescue grant application from Western Aussie Rescue. And I believe we may have had them, they might have gotten a grant in a previous year and they're reapplying. Is that correct, Jean? Do you know?
That is
Yes, we
correct.
did.
Okay,
Yep,
so
they
we
got one
have
last year.
we all have their application in the Dropbox to look at. And I believe that Kala has ensured that they have met all the requirements, I'm pretty sure. And so does anybody want to make a motion to approve them and for the amount?
I would, but I am one of their volunteers. So
Okay.
still, and I think the amount that we want to note this time would be the $3,000 since we've lowered it
Right.
now,
Okay,
so that we
Right.
can make that money go a little bit further.
Okay, Ann, this is Cindy.
hi Cindy.
I'll make a motion to approve, put up again, Western Australian Shepherd Rescue, an amount of $3,000 for their application of 2018.
Second.
I would,
Wait, I had 3 people saying something.
That's Laura. Laura said she'd second it.
Okay, Laura, seconds. All righty. So we have a motion on the floor to approve the rescue grant application in the amount of $3,000 to Western Australian Shepherd Rescue for their 2018 application. And that was made by Cindy and seconded by Laura. Do we have any discussion? Okay, then we can vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. Are there any abstentions?
Jean,
Alrighty, and the motion carries. The next item is trending news, and we discussed this a little bit on email, but we didn't get anywhere. So who wants to bring up anything that they want to about this?
Jean felt it was a little redundant, and I think she made some good points. And I just thought maybe we should actually, if we have time, talk about this face to face, because I'd like to project. I would like to actually project the website out there and let us look at that homepage and decide what we want to do when we're maybe all sitting together and we're looking at the same thing. I think, Jean, wasn't
I like
that
the idea.
your point was it was a little redundant, and are we utilizing our home page to the best possible effect? Yes?
Correct.
No? Okay.
Okay, so,
I like
then
the idea of talking about it in person. I think that would be a much better use of our time.
and so then we'll ask Ray to have a projector for us, and we'll put that on the agenda for the spring meeting with a projector on Friday.
Should we ask how the rest of the board feels about that?
No. Yes, we should. Sorry.
I mean,
Cindy.
maybe they want to talk about it now. I don't.
Cindy, do you want to say anything about that?
I'm fine with doing it at the spring meeting.
Okay. Denise?
I think the spring meeting is a good time.
Jean?
Yes, ma'am. I agree with Laura.
Okay, Ken?
I think spring meeting would be fine.
Laura?
That's a great idea.
Linda?
Ditto.
Liz?
I agree with Laura.
Rachel?
Yep, spring meeting. Thank you.
I agree too. Sorry that I didn't give anybody a chance earlier. Oops. All right, that's what we're going to do with that. And the next item is Judges Education Platform, and this is being presented by Laura with the assistance of Amy.
I just really want to set up the for Amy to come in. What happened here, just to give a little history for anyone that's listening in to the meeting. For over a year, the board, probably even longer than that, the board's wanted to have some sort of formalized way that we can provide meaningful judges education, affiliate education. So we were looking for a learning management system. We had a committee that didn't work out so well. So I was talking to one of my IT guys. I work for a large school district, and 28 of our schools use Google Classroom, so I suggested that we use that for ASCA's purposes. And I suggested that, and then I had one of the members contact me and say, well, Google Classroom would work, but maybe we should look at this also. And that person reached out to Amy, and Amy reached out to me, and I was thrilled by that because Amy was actually one of the persons that I talked to about this 2 years ago. And she volunteered to put together a report, and she's here tonight to talk about that. So Amy, thank you very much for volunteering your expertise on this and for putting the report together.
Sure, I'm happy to do it. Let me go ahead and start just to preface this appropriately about not everybody knows who I am. Up here in Seattle, in the state of Washington, in order to be an online educator for the purposes of state function real estate, you have to be certified by the state of Washington, which includes the ability to educate over online platforms. Before that, we'd been doing a variety of online education opportunities using about 4 or 5 different platforms. And I've also been a recipient or a student of online education for probably about the last 10 years. So I've seen the original version of Blackboard, which I'm sure will make Laura scoff a little bit, because it was quite terrible. When I went through to look at various learning management systems, the first thing that I wanted to be very clear in, not only in the document, but also in speaking to you, is that this has nothing to do with my opinion of the standards of judging, the content of judges' education, anything like that. I took a few technical specifications and used those technical specifications in order to evaluate a variety of different companies. One thing that I've found to be most prevalent is that they tend to come in 2 different flavors, either the K through 12 version or a corporate learning version. While there are companies that tend to do one or the other, there are companies that do both. They tend to be quite expensive for our purposes because we are not an education facility. We're not a school or a higher education association. We don't have some of the same access points. And also some of the features are different in the K through 12 arena and also the higher education arena versus the corporate learning arena. So that was more my mindset. How can we take the existing test base that we currently use within the ASCA system and apply that need and format to what's available currently in the greater world? I did go ahead and remove Google Classroom essentially from the analysis. To my thought, it doesn't meet our needs, and we're really not their target audience. They're looking for the K through 12 association group. Also, I can't get them to give me any kind of pricing. They are not returning emails or phone calls regarding pricing for anything other than an education group, K through 12, Montessori, what have you. So I went past that. I did evaluate a few other groups. And then at the bottom of the document, which I believe is in your Dropbox, you'll see the other items that were discarded from the analysis for a variety of reasons. Not only were they not geared toward our particular needs, but they also had pricing issues. One of them, for instance, being Schoology, which is a wonderful service they do corporate setup to the tune of $7,500 a year, which I don't think anybody's really interested in paying. Which is to my mind, is perfectly fine. What you will find in pricing structure is that, again, some are really expensive, some are really cheap. The less expensive items assume and require us to do our own work, meaning that we would have to onboard all of the users, either something I do, something they do at the office, something somebody else does. And it also means that you have some less flexibility. However, the upside to choosing a cheaper system is that it gives us a chance to put our toe in the water and then expand out should we choose to do so. So we could start with a less expensive company, develop a program that we think will work for us, and then say, hey, you know what, we also want to do this, or we want to do that. This service that we're using really doesn't allow us to do that. Let's go ahead and make another RFP and see if we can find another company, say 5 or 6 years, that may be completely brand new, but they're doing exactly what we need. Without going through every last bit of this, unless that's your preference, does anybody have any questions about the documentation provided or any of the information in there?
Do you have a recommendation of one of these that you thought was pretty good? Like,
you know, I struggle to make a recommendation, and it's difficult for me for the simple reason that was not provided, nor did I request any of the copies of any tests that are currently being sent out. One of the differences between some of these different platforms is that some have the option to create text input tests, meaning that some questions could be multiple choice, they're drawings, they're all sorts of fun things. Some of them allow for users to answer in small or long type format, a written answer, and some do not. So without the copies or an example of the kinds of tests that are being currently used within the ASCA system, it would be really hard for me to say, yes, we can use that one. I don't want to say that this item will work, we go out and buy it and then find out that it does or does not allow something that we're implementing. I'm happy to continue the white paper through, connect with the various committee chairs, if that's appropriate. Go ahead and collect their information and any feedback that they might have, and then make a developed decision in that particular manner. And it just shouldn't take too long to do that.
this is really nice to see. Really good.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
Originally, the thought was that Amy would present this to us tonight, and then we could have a week to look at it, and then we can talk about it again at the spring meeting, and maybe Amy could, answer questions for us at that time. So I think it's a lot to digest. How would you feel about that, Anne?
I think that's great. The only other thing I was thinking, we might get farther ahead if we do have her work with at least maybe one committee so that she can see what they have and how that might be able to be fit into these. And
if I may be so bold, if I could connect out with obedience confirmation and stock, or agility confirmation and stock, whichever you think has the most robust testing product or currently, then that might be a good way to go.
The person who has the most robust educational program right now is Rally.
Okay.
As having things posted on YouTube, they were the model that we wanted everyone else to follow, and that didn't really happen. not everyone is blessed to have Karen Black. And so, in fact, they're about to lose Karen Black. And so, but that might be some place to start.
I think that's the only. I think it's the only committee that at this time has anything that is actually online education. The other committees have testing that they do, but those are like with paper tests that get handled through the office that are judges testing. But that really isn't education like we would like to.
But I think one of the formats, I could be wrong, this is Jean, that Amy is looking to try to see what works is whether or not there's the ability to do the test.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it, but we also, but so, I think
agility. So I mean, Stock has a written test, agility has a test, confirmation has a test, obedience has a test, tracking has a test, rally. Everybody's got a test, so it's a matter of, you know, hooking her up with somebody who's going to be responsive to her needs, basically.
The rally has,
and that's exactly right, Jean. I think it's wise to connect out, again, at least with the largest serving programs, if not with all of these various programs within the ASCA family, so that way we can confirm the technology that's being purchased will suit all of their needs, at least in the short term. That way, once we are facilitating any kind of changeover and discussing how that changeover would happen under a best case scenario, we're not having to include a discussion of how to change and update existing tests that we know work, making small changes over a period of time versus one big fat Band-Aid. Again, if I may be so bold.
All right.
Okay. Do we want to go around and get people's feedback, or Laura, do you want to work with?
I think that it would be good maybe for everyone to look at the document that Amy's put together so far, and we can talk about it next week. If you have time to look at it, then please make any notes or any questions that you might have for Amy, and Cal and I can work with Amy to find a time when maybe she could come back and answer some questions. Amy, I just want to clarify one thing, because I'm looking at the paper and you still have Google Classroom on here, but then I think you started out by saying discard it.
Well, I do have it at the top, but to be perfectly honest, that's not an order of preference. I didn't discard it and put it under the bottom with items that were removed from the analysis, only because I haven't heard back from them about pricing. But it's been 10 days, so I'm really not holding my breath for them. Also, I also left it in there because I know it was important to you, and I didn't want you to think that I had just 86'd it, because I don't like it.
Oh, no, I don't have, let me clarify something, it's not important to me. I want the best program for ASCA. That is just simply a platform that I am familiar with because the district utilizes it, and it would meet our needs, and it's free. But
it is. It's actually not free for us, though. That's the thing. There is a pricing structure for the K through 12 scenario, but it's not. It doesn't come up as being free in any way.
I am not married to it, believe me. So I want.
All right, fair enough.
Fine. And so, Ann, that's all I have for tonight.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming and presenting this, Amy, and we may be talking to you next week, and hopefully we'll have it set up so that we'll let you know ahead of time if we're going to talk to you next week, and we'll see where we go from here. But thank you so much for this information. It's invaluable, and I know it will help us.
Sure thing. Happy to be helpful however I can.
Thank you very much.
All right. Have a lovely evening. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. We have completed our agenda, unless anyone has anything they want to pop in with. All righty. So the meeting is adjourned at 8:38, or whatever it is, 9:38, 7:38.
Depends on where you are.
Yeah. For me, it's
7:38 Central.
30 here.
okay. Whatever time it is, wherever you are, the meeting's over.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you,
you. See you
everyone.
next week.
See you next
Bye.
week.
Did Linda have puppies?
Everybody travel safe.
Linda,
you.
did you have puppies?
There were 3 in the X-ray,
All right.
Yay!
and she's
Congratulations.
due on Saturday.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah,
Safe
I'm
travel.
waiting.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.